Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave, and you are back with us this week for a Pillbug dev stream with a slight difference. Firstly, Sean sends his apologies. He can't make it today. He has a friend visiting all the way from Canada, so we have given him the evening off. I don't know. You guys can shout at Sean in Discord and through the various Twitter memes and on our Facebook page if you think that's unreasonable. But as far as we're concerned, Sean gets the night off, which means I get to play a game all for myself. This is an entirely selfish Pillbug stream. And we are going to be watching me play Hearthstone, which is one of my kind of mini addictions at the moment, I suppose. I've been playing quite a bit of Hearthstone for a while now. I've been interested in card games and so on and so forth for quite a long time. So, interested in playing this a little bit live on stream. I don't know how it's going to go down with Pillbug fans and stream regulars, but sound off in the chat if this is the kind of thing that you'd like to see, maybe on solo streams, maybe on streams that we have Sean as well. But this is what I'm going to try out for tonight. The other option, just to give you guys another option. Over the course of the evening, could be me doing a little bit of pixel art for some prototype assets. But we'll start with some Hearthstone, which kind of I feel a bit more in the right headspace for. But if we crash and burn in Hearthstone, I might switch to doing some kind of chilled out pixel art stuff for Pillbug related things. So do let me know. It's also a bit different doing kind of a card game stream compared to what we're normally doing. It involves a lot more concentration from my part, but I hope I'll be able to make it entertaining both for people who are interested in Hearthstone and people who perhaps haven't seen Hearthstone or the kind of Hearthstone kind of game before. But I doubt I'll be able to talk too much, really, about kind of development side of this kind of monster of a game. Really, it's not really why it's not the kind of appropriate discussion for me that me and Sean normally have about what makes games fun and what makes a successful indie game or what we look to emulate in our games compared to the games we're playing live on stream. That kind of stuff doesn't really work with this for fairly obvious reasons. So why I wanted to play, Hearthstone for a little while, and I'm about to click on here, which is going to bring the Hearthstone music up and the Hearthstone sounds. So do let me know if that gets too much or annoying or whatever. I don't normally play with Hearthstone sounds, but I thought bringing it to Pillbug, would be nice to have some of the music and some of the sounds anyway. So the reason I wanted to play this is that I'm at kind of a crux point in playing Hearthstone online. Like many of these games, it's got mini goals and mini benchmarks all along the way, all the way right up to the pros. But for me, like obviously, I set my sights a lot lower than that. And I've never been to the legendary rank. So the way ranks work in Hearthstone is that you have 25 to 1, all the way from 25 is the starting rank, all the way up to rank 1. And then once you get past rank 1, you're into the legendary ranks, which are, thousands of people, tens of thousands of people across the world are playing at those kinds of ranks. So it took me a little bit, to get used to how that actually works. But what it means is that I am at rank 2 at the moment, which is the highest I've ever been in Hearthstone. And then I'm hoping to make that push a little bit towards legendary this evening on stream, which means one of three things I think could possibly happen. best case scenario, we make it to, over the course of the evening with some ups and downs, some laughs, some spills, 2 legendary, fantastic, wonderful, everything's great. The Cinderella story. Second option is I barely move. I win some, I lose some, because every time you win a game of Hearthstone above this rank, you get 1 star, and every time you lose a game, you lose a star. So, you need to put in some time and effort and, get a good streak going, perhaps, in order to get, higher into the next ranks. So I could just kind of play some great games of Hearthstone, play some bad games of Hearthstone, and just end up where we started. That's option 2. The third thing that could happen is I tank a bunch of ranks on live on stream, which is also a distinct possibility, because of course once you lose that star in rank 2, you go down to rank 3, and you can keep losing stars and ranks. So those are the 3 things that could happen over the course of the evening. I think it will be fun to kind of try nonetheless, but obviously if we're rooting for the good guys, then we are rooting for the fact that I will make it to legendary or close enough over the course of the evening. We're playing Mid-Range Hunter, which is, for those of you who do know, the game is not particularly the most exciting deck in the game at the moment, but it's been treating me well on ladder, and I have no major complaints about it. It's not really the kind of class or type of deck I was hoping to play come rotation, but it's just the way it's worked out. It wins the games that I want to win, and I'm acceptable, has acceptable losses and so on and so forth. But for those of you who don't know the game very much, it is in card game terms a mid-range deck. That means I'm not hyper aggressive. That means I don't come out and try and beat people up super early, but it's also what's called it's not very controlling. It's not a control deck, so I'm not trying to necessarily push the game right to the end stages of the game and just kind of survive and control the game until that point. So it's kind of, as it suggests in the name, it's middle of those two. It's got some explosive kind of synergies and potential without being a combo deck, and it's certainly not as aggressive as some of the Hearthstone decks out there as well. But I like it. I like the matchups it has, and we'll see a bit more as we go through. If you are brand new to Hearthstone and all this is looking absolutely bananas, then fair enough. Because there's a lot to take in, all these cards, this is my collection, etc., etc. I'm not going to go into this too much because if you want to learn how to play Hearthstone, there's some great apps and great tutorials out there. So I'm just going to kind of crack on with what I'm hoping to get achieved today, which is play some Hearthstone. Again, you'll be able to see what the game is like from watching me play a little bit, and you'll be able to see kind of some of the key interactions, some of the key strategies. I'll talk a little bit through some of my choices. This is all stuff I don't normally do when playing Hearthstone, so it's going to be an interesting kind of thing for me as well. Usually streaming makes me worse at games, Cycle 28 being a really good example, but we'll see if that's true on card games as well. So without further ado, let's get into our first game. As I said, I've got the sounds on at the moment. I'm checking my levels, and everything seems, kind of okay. But if it gets too much of a problem, just shout out in the chat. I will be checking chat between games and stuff like that as regularly as possible as well.
Anduin, the light shall bring victory.
Let the hunt begin.
Okay, I don't think I have a deck tracker on my PC, but I don't think it's actually showing up on the stream, which is kind of interesting anyway. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's showing up, which is okay. It's not particularly important. So I'm against a priest deck, which judging by current kind of trends on with the World Championship and things like that. It's probably Nomi Priest, which is this isn't necessarily a great hand against. So this is my hand down here. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of this hand, but we're going to drop our 1-drop anyway, just to get something going. I'm going to just adjust my sound a little bit, because that was quite loud.
Is someone injured?
Oh, that's a disaster. Okay, I was hoping there wouldn't be a North Star Cleric there. Into Power Word Shield, which is even worse. Okay, so not a great start. We do have a kill command potentially to deal with that in a mo, but our opponent is going to get to draw a card, which is not great. And I didn't really want to spend a kill command on a Northshire Cleric anyway, but I can drop a hatchet while I've still got the beast down for the extra durability. So yeah, I do need to be quite aggressive in this matchup. Eventually he's going to start drawing a ton of different cards. So I do need to make sure I am pushing the damage. Again, whether or not dropping that 1-drop makes any sense on turn 1 against a priest is always a bit ropey. But sometimes they don't have the Northshire Cleric and you're able to kind of snowball your board advantage a little bit more. So I now don't have a beast for this, which makes this less than ideal, but I think it's still the play because I have my hatchet to go into as well. I could kind of ignore it, but I think they'll just draw too many cards over the course of the game, especially if they're likely playing Wild Pyromancer Acolyte. So it stings. It's not what I want to do, but I think at the end of the day we kind of have to bite the bullet on that one. I'm not liking the fact that I haven't got much aggression going, and he's under absolutely no pressure to really do anything at this point, which drawing another 6-drop is helping not at all. If this guy survives, I might be able to Dire Frenzy it for just some extra punch and actually start getting some pressure going. It's a hyena. See, the problem with playing the hyena here, it's not particularly mana efficient. I don't have much to do other than Hero Power, which leaves 1 mana floating, which it looks like I'm going to be doing anyway. Is that this deck plays a lot of it plays the Wild Pyromancer combo package with Acolyte Pain, and he's got a lot of cards in hand and hasn't really been doing anything. The danger of Dire Frenzying is that he could have, and likely will have, a silence in there somewhere, which will make that less than great. But at least it will put a few extra threats in and put something on the board that he has to deal with and put some damage in and so on and so forth. So I think I prefer that to Scavenging Hyena. Hyena gives, I've got some good Hyena turns potentially ahead. So he's still got potential silences for the high main, the kind of high main train I've got going here, but they're still a difficult minion for Priest to deal with. He hasn't drawn a lot of cards yet. Really, he's still got 18 cards in his deck. His deck looks a bit more controlling than I was necessarily expecting. So let's get some beasties, some wee beasties. Okay, so we can clear this without losing anything too major. I've got to be aware of 3-4 for so it's been quite controlling so far, so I'm concerned about dropping too much onto the board into Mass Hysteria, which is their kind of board wipe. So I think I just want to hog steeds. Clear the Grizzly. And yeah, and it's not a very threatening board at the moment, but I think that's probably better than playing the hyena and risking mass hysteria here. Okay, this definitely feels like a resurrect priest deck then if he's playing both of these taunts. So he's gonna at some point resurrect some serious trouble. Excuse me. So I wonder if I play my Tundra Rhino next turn, 5, 6, 7, 8, I'll be able to do quite a bit of damage here. Okay, alright, that's a bit of an issue. So a very impressive way of dealing with this, but I think between the Tundra Rhino and Springclaw, I guess that's at 8, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. I can certainly get through here and do a decent amount of damage, which I think is the right thing, really. And I can also use Shimmerfly to add a spell here. So we're going to come in here. These two will now have charge thanks to the Rhino. So that's a suitably scary amount of pressure for the priest to have to deal with. There's every chance he will be able to manage this board, but hopefully we'll be able to keep the pressure up. And if he is just relying on taunts, we've got the second hyena here, plus the spring paw to potentially deal some kind of damage, pushing through some of those taunts. But he's a little bit. He's 1 mana off. He's used his coin. He's 1 mana off the big resurrection spell and currently in priest. So I think he's no mana. Okay, that's a scary card to play against. Okay. Alright, well, then we win. That's fine. So, because we've still got our charging beasts, he's like a ton of damage at the moment, so we can just go 6. And give him the GG. I was not expecting my Rhino to survive that turn, if I'm honest. So I'm quite happy with that. Rhino, as you can probably see, makes quite a big difference. So that's our second star at rank 2. We're going to keep going. Nice to start with a victory against kind of an odd deck there. Control Priest, not something we see, or Resurrect Priest, not something you see on ladder all that much. At least I haven't. So, but yeah, good to get off to a win. But yeah, that Rhino, yeah, he's just something your opponent has to deal with. And in card games, you know, that's never a bad thing, presenting your opponent with a problem that they really have to deal with straight away. Okay, so we are playing against Hunter. About a week ago, I would have said chances are I would be playing against a different kind of Hunter deck, a bomb mech Hunter or a mech Hunter. But since the World Championships, a lot of people have got on board with this mid-range Hunter. I'm not saying I was playing it before it was cool, but I was definitely playing it before it was cool. So when I probably shouldn't have been. So in the mirror, I'm not. I should know what's good and what's not a little bit more in the mirror, but I don't, so I'm going to admit my ignorance. I'm assuming that Master's Call and Dire Frenzy are the awesome wombo combo, as they often are against kind of more controlling decks. And getting on board with a 1-drop seems relatively useful as well. I'm on coin, so I will be able to play the Animal Companion on turn 2 if I want to, which is again a great opportunity to kind of get ahead on the board. But there might also be some reason to keep that really for the Dire Frenzy, so that the Dire Frenzy can be on turn 3. Okay, looks likely mech Hunter then. I haven't had a lot of problems beating mech Hunter, if I'm honest with this. The key is a card that we haven't seen yet called Unleash the Beast. That card just, you know, it's just often too much for the mech Hunter to kind of handle.
Ooh, I wonder what this does.
Okay. So I could coin out the animal companion here. If I get Huffer, that's not fantastic. Leok doesn't do a huge amount for me here either. The one with Taunt, Ursa, whatever, the bear would probably be the best option, but even that would get traded into quite happily. So I'm kind of tempted with this Discover a Secret and hope for the Explosive Trap that I could coin into play and would clear this board. I'd lose my coin, but I think it's probably for the best. So there it is. There's not many Hunter Traps in the game anymore, so I'm assuming my opponent will be able to read this pretty easily and make appropriate. Yeah, he might magnetize and stuff, but I think that's probably the best use of that turn. Give me some breathing room on the board. Okay, that's what? Okay, that's not good. That's pretty much disastrous. No attacks from my opponent, which I think is probably the right call. Yeah, it makes me kind of go into an interesting situation. I could just keep accruing value with Master's Call. There's some good... Maybe a turn... If I get Master's Call, but without Unleash the Hounds, there's no real reason to try and dig for anything in particular. I don't like the fact that I'm giving up the boards just to avoid kind of the trap being made useless. So I think I'm going to try and companion here and see what we get. Okay, Huffer's not ideal, but let's just put some damage. And you know, just let the opponent see what he wants to do. He's probably going to trade in the fireworks tech, I'd imagine. Keep the Mecharoo around, which is much more valuable because it is a mech. Fairly obvious trade there. Trigger the secret so that he doesn't have to deal with that anymore. He gets 2 mechs into hand, which is a lot of value. Oh boy, that's value. I did not see that Cybertech chip coming. Oh, the Galvanizer. This is not going well. Oh dear. Okay. Not a great turn. Don't really love the idea of kill commanding on that Ursatron, but I don't know if I can keep giving up the board in such a way. And the other option would be to play Timberwolf Direwolf Alpha and just kind of demand some clearing from the opponent, but that doesn't feel fantastic. So I think what we're going to try and do is maybe set up for a better turn next turn. I can't keep pushing. There's not much aggression to push here, so as much as it pains me, and as with often the case with this deck, Spring Pour kind of gives you a bit of glue. The next turn I'm looking at maybe Direwolf Alpha and Spring Pour and Timber Mortar. So I'm going to keep that. That's a bit risky. I could quite happily have run a Spring Pour into this 1-1 here, but I have a feeling he's going to unload quite a lot on this turn, and I couldn't clear his mechs. There we go. So yeah, that's a lot of damage. I'm hoping I will at least be able to clear off some of this with some of the damage. So I could get... I mean, how greedy is that? So 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would give me 2 3/3s rushing in. That kills the Ursa and doesn't really do enough to that, really. Taking another hit from the 6/7 sounds horrendous. So is there any way I can do 3, 4, no, 5? Don't really have the mana to both kill command I suppose I can clear. I can clear the 6/7 with kill command, springport, and Timberwolf, but it just leaves that 3/3 there. Whereas even just springport, it's not fantastic. But I think this is the better long-term play. But we could, I mean, I'm fully anticipating this coming back to bite me. Is this 6/7 just running away with the game? But I just don't think we... Ugh. Okay. Yeah. I just think we got too far behind too quickly on this, so Unleash the Hounds doesn't give me as much. Doesn't give me much at all, really. So I can go 3 into 3. Kills go 5. No, I think we just got tempoed out there quite substantially. The problem with the hunter is that I have almost no way of gaining life, and there's just no way to kind of claw back into a game where you lose this much tempo. So we're a long way from Zoltan. So I doubt we're going to be able to make any dent here. 2, 3. And we're dead, because he just swings in and hero powers. So, not an ideal game there. I think just losing that board early, the Cybertech chip giving my opponent just a lot of mech options, and not really having some particularly efficient turns kind of killed us there. But 1-on-1, so you can see why I'm bouncing around that rank 2. That could be a real function of tonight. But at least we're going to see some games. Okay, another hunter. See if it's mid-range or not. Or the mech. So on the play, Direwolf Alpha does let me rush my hench clan into his 3-drop if he coins one out. That's a bit of a niche scenario, really. Don't really want to keep a kill command. Direwolf Alpha. I think I'd rather have another shot on Master's Call, or maybe a 1-drop, or an Animal Companion. So, double Scavenging Hyena. I mean, they could be good at some point in the game. It depends the texture of the game. Looks again like another mech deck. I mean, if it's got fireworks tech like last time, dropping down a hyena is not ideal. But the Hogsteed just trades straight in anyway, and I've got the second hyena, so I'm kind of willing to see if this goes as badly as I anticipate it might. Oh, got an itchy foot as well. Okay, so that's not nearly as bad. So I can hog rush into this and pick up the bomb for free potentially, or use my hyena to take down this other one. I mean, the thing is with mechs, like, you just ideally want to get on top of that and just like not let the mech hunter stick a mech for, if you see when it snowballs, it gets out of hand. I mean, I can Animal Companion here, but there are a number of, I mean, the results aren't great. It's better, it's more mana efficient, but I'm more concerned with losing the board here. So I'm gonna rush my Hogsteed in, trade with this 2-1, pump there, and the question really is whether or not to take the bomb out. I think taking the bomb out to make the most sense. Or do we take the 1-1? I don't like face here. I want to kind of control the board more. It's turn 3. I think we're probably best off doing it. This takes away the option of attack unless he magnetizes. And if he magnetizes on 3, that's usually Spider Bomb, which might have killed my Hyena anyway. What's it going for? Oh, the 4-drop. Yeah, that's probably worse. 3-1-1s, but at least we got the coin. I mean, getting the coin is not nothing. So, see, Huffer is not ideal against this many 1-1s. The rest are okay. Could weave in the hero power trade and just put 2-2 down, but with the 2-2 that's not ideal. Right, okay, we're hoping for the 4-4 taunt. Okay, Huff is not great. But we'll trade here and hit face, because you can always trade those the 1-1s in, and if he wants to magnetize, he's always going to have the 1-1 to magnetize onto, so I can't stop him doing that. So he just trades in and takes the board with the 3-3 and a 1-1. We haven't been particularly mana efficient so far, which is a bit unfortunate. And looks to be the kind of the way it's continuing to go. But I think if we kill command this and drop a 2-2, we at least kind of are on parity with the board. I mean, Master's Call is going to be great and all, but I think we just can't let the other hunter take the board quite so much. So he's gaining card advantage there from that 3-3, which is a pain. That's why that card's so good. But at least we've got the high main to back it up a little bit. This is why the Mech Hunter is quite so strong. Gets a freebie there. And it's going to get another freebie, really. So I can't risk the Master's Call here. I think we have to play the high main. And we are losing on tempo quite badly here. As well as this many bombs causing the damage race to be a bit of an issue. Which is why he's so comfortable in going face. I think Master's Call rather than... I mean, I could Dire Frenzy, go face myself. That takes him to 17. We go down to 14 the following turn. Well, we go down to 11 the following turn, depending on if he just doesn't do anything. So I don't think we win this race if I Dire Frenzy, Direwolf Alpha. So I think we have to Master's Call and just hope to get some... Yeah, rushing minions is exactly what we were kind of hoping for here. Because I can rush into this, trade with that. He gets a 1-1. I don't see what else really. No trade. We still at least have 2-2s on the boards. I could die with Alpha, but I don't really see the point here. Though we do have 2 die with Alpha, so maybe I will drop that there. Just so our 2-1 becomes a bit more of an issue potentially. Normally you want to play them when you're actually, pushing damage forward, but I think it's more of the threat to try and...
Unity, precision.
Wow. Okay, we are being ranched by our fellow hunters this evening. Celiax is a disaster. I mean, we at least get to trade over, but he's not gaining much life from it anyway. I mean, I could put a ton of 5/5 mana, 2 mana guys in the board into my deck, which double Dire Frenzy could be useful comes the Zolgian turn. I don't have a, and because I would be casting Master's Call, so I kind of like that. Question becomes, do I push 5 face? I think I would push 5 face because I've got no way of clearing. The best thing with mech against mech hunter is to try and clear all the mechs so that they have nothing to magnetize onto. But if you can't do that, it kind of sometimes feel like, what's the point in clearing any of the mechs? So we're going a bit deep here on the hyena routes, which feels weird, but I think to me it kind of telegraphs quite heavily that I've got Zul'jin in my hand and I'm trying to set up a situation where I get a good Master's Call. So much value from these mechs. Kind of brutal. And we are definitely far behind him. And that was even worse. So I was kind of hoping he had no play for the second there, but Tundra Rhino, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can jam the 2 in there. Okay, Tundra Rhino was a really good draw in fairness. Gives me a shot to do something this turn. That's almost enough to get rid of this guy, but we're gonna. So I've at least cleared the board. I'm down to 8, which against a hunter is not good, because it's basically 4 turns of if he does nothing, he still wins. Oh, running Leroy. Fair enough. Our fellow hunters are not helping us out tonight. For sure. That is for sure. We are down. So we're down a star on the evening. We beat... at least we did our quest. What did we beat? We beat a priest, and then lost to 2 hunters. It's kind of hard to complain about there being lots of hunters if you're playing hunter yourself, but they're playing the mech version, which seems to have a fairly positive matchup against the mid-range. I have beaten it in the past on ladder.
Let the hunt begin.
But there we are. Right, against Druid. Could well be Token Druid, in which case the key to beating Token Druid is appropriate use of these 2 cards. So we are 100% keeping them. I don't like Dire Frenzy so much in this matchup, although it can be useful at certain points. The question for me is whether or not Master's Call is the right card for this matchup. And I think it's good, but I don't think you have as much time, and you need to be playing for the board as much as possible. That, assuming this is Token Druid, which is a fair assumption, really. So you need, I think, early plays as well as this 5 mana combo. So I'm hoping to pick up maybe a Springpaw or a Hogsteed. Yeah, there we go. That's a Hogsteed. So that gives me some options of stuff to do prior to the Unleash the Hounds, Scavenging Hyena kind of combo turn. It would be nice to draw a Timberwolf as well. Throughout the hello.
Greetings, traveler.
A Timberwolf would let us kind of really use Unleash the Hounds to clear away a lot of different token boards. I think it's dangerous to assume that Unleash is gonna clear everything for you as a hunter. You need to be applying pressure as well.
What shall we hunt?
So I'm quite happy kind of running a Hogsteed into one of these. I mean, happy is perhaps a strong word for it, but I don't really like the idea of just leaving this around. Unless we're feeling that until we see some other action, we want him to have more of a board for the Unleash. But I think that's something that's enough turns away for me to feel like I'm happy kind of just making this trade, keeping his board a little lower, encouraging him to wisps, really.
Free your mind from its bonds.
Man, that guy's kind of annoying. Having 3/6 drops in our hand is not ideal. I don't want to give him a good Wrath target because he'll just get so much value from that. He might be playing the Raptor version, but there's not much we can't clear this guy from the board this turn efficiently. So we kind of just have to suck this one up. I think Master's Call is probably better. Looking for a Timberwolf, or maybe even a Direwolf Alpha this turn than Hero Power, just to try and make Unleash turn a little bit more dramatic. So I think that's the right thing to do that. We're heading into 4 mana 5 with the coin, which is where you can start unleashing, but until you're able to get that Timbermaw down, it doesn't deal with anything other than a Wisp's turn, which he's not really going to do because he's only got like 5 cards in hand. So I think that's a little unlikely. I'm wrong. I guess, it's still a full board. It still forces some action on my part, because I can't let him buff this. Springpaw is interesting, so I can take 2 of those. I could Hench Clan it, Hogsteed into a 3rd, which would leave him 3 guys on board. That's,
I wonder.
But I kind of think this is just too good to turn up to. He'll have Steladris on board. I'll have a Hound and a sizable Scavenging Hyena. I don't think I can let this opportunity go, really. I could have Timberwolf to get rid of the Steladris. Whoa! Okay. I guess. I mean, fair play. Maybe he's streaming tonight and just got a lot of games to get through as well. But I think we were probably in quite a commanding position once we cleared that board. Hyena is a big challenge for them to get through. We had a lot of cards in hand. I was looking good turning into turn 6 with more than enough things to play. An early concede. Not gonna, that helps our push. Not that we're getting very far along that way anyway. So Warlock probably means Zoo. Springpaw seems fairly legit. An Animal Companion could turn up some good stuff. Whether or not I want the 2nd or I'm looking for something else, I'd love a Hatchet. I love a Hogsteed. Kill Command isn't the worst when you think about Magic Carpet. The question is, am I mulliganing exclusively for Unleash the Hounds? That's kind of the question here. Is like, can you keep other cards in this matchup? And I'm not 100% sure on that. I think Springpaw is too good to turn down, and Animal Companion is strong, but it's not Unleash the Hounds. So I think that's why I had to mulligan that. And draw it anyway, which makes me comfortable playing Springpaw here and having Timbermaw potentially to have a really good turn 2 if he drops quite a few 1-drops here.
Why do you call?
Voidwalker's unfortunate. I think it's probably fair to say Voidwalker is unfortunate. I could drop Shimmerfly. I'm kind of okay with him just taking my Springpaw here and getting the freebie, because it means my Unleashed Timberwolf will be able to clear off this Voidwalker. I don't really want to jam any more 1/1s down. I don't think.
Quickly.
Or do I know? Because the links, I think we just Hero Power here. I think the links is too valuable in hand. And like floating the mana to get a Shimmerfly down doesn't seem great.
Put this apple on your head.
Knife Juggler is a bit scary, but again, we're just kind of biding our time for our big Unleashed Timberwolf turn. So if he's wanting to go wide with his Knife Juggler, I'm kind of okay with that. So we're going to drop the Shimmerfly, hit a power button, and pass back. So we're not doing a lot at the moment, but we kind of had this feeling that we're going to clear a board, a bit like we did against the Token Druid, with Unleash the Hound and Timberwolf, and kind of hopefully mop up from there. Is that going to be enough to beat Lock? We're not convinced. Double Juggler's spicy. Taking a lot of face damage from these jugglers.
The light protects me.
Okay, so this lets us unleash the hounds and clear up a lot of 2-drops, which I think is kind of what we've got to do. He's only got 2 cards in hand. We're both at 23. I think this is a fine enough that we get to just clear a lot of stuff. Do I want to clear this Divine Shield? Grim Rally makes things kind of interesting. Yeah, I hate leaving Divine Shields on boards. That's probably a little conservative, but I really dislike leaving minions with Divine Shield on board against Log. So, especially when I got Spring Paws in hand, I can kind of potentially deal with this. So if he pushes this face, which he was never going to put on board. Oh, that's a draw. That is a spicy meatball. So we get to play Spring Paw, Dire Frenzy, trade over this 2/2, and put some really excellent draws into our deck for Master's Call and such. And next turn with Savannah Highmane. The thing we have to be super careful against is whether or not we flood the board for Sea Giant. We have to make sure we don't do that. So remind me, everyone, don't do that. I love this guy. This is really interesting. We are getting some early concedes here, which I'm not gonna complain about. Makes me wonder if I'm not conceding quick enough at rank 2. Is this what people do at rank 2? Is they concede a lot of games that are not going well. So far we've only lost to other hunters. We've been a priest, a warlock, and a druid. But I have absolutely no hope of ever beating a rogue deck, so this is going to be brutal. What the hell? Right, Unleash is no good. This is not the Unleash matchup. Hogsteeds, they can't be good really, can they? Because of... Yeah, 2-drops are horrendous against rogue. So we cannot play those. So it's a full mull. Yeah, I if anyone has any suggestions on how you beat appropriate rogues with a hunter deck, I just, this Hogsteed, I mean, that's a surprising move, maybe, I don't know. But I guess I can hatch it. The problem with playing the Hogsteed here and rushing in is that it leaves behind a 1/1, which kind of turns on quite a few early plays. Gives them an SI 7 agent target. And he's he's unlikely to send that face unless he's super aggressive. So I'm happy to kind of, that thing had charge a lot of the time anyway, so it deals 2 damage. But I'm kind of happy to not give them an easy turn this turn of just coin SI, and then leave me with the question of whether or not I want to kill command an SI and 7 agent, which is often the right thing to do, but it's never something I'm particularly excited to do. So there's no point playing this hog steed into the knife, obviously. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and hero power and pass, which is not exciting, but you know, it's so hard against this tempo rogue deck. Okay. If we're at 5 mana, I'd play the Hogsteed and kill command this. I mean that's still an option next turn. So if I Animal Companion this turn, there's one outcome. As Huffer I just trade the 4/4 taunt so whatever it is. It sits there and hopes that it doesn't get sapped, which is unlikely. Leok is just Leok. So we're hoping for Huffer here for the trade. We get it, which is great. And then I'm happy passing here. So we're starting to get into the turns where these two cards can be good against Rogue. Quite a few Rogues don't run sap. I think a lot of people say that's a mistake. I don't know Rogue really enough to comment with any authority, but sap seems certainly one of the things I'm most worried about right now. So that's not a hugely scary turn from Rogue. The next one will be where it really pops, as it were, as he gets to play his Waggle Pick plus a couple of Dread Corsairs. So what are we trying to do when that happens? Well, Unleash is reasonable against that. Savannah Highmane is just a bit slow, probably. I don't hate Dire Frenzying the Hogsteed in the face of that, because it leaves behind something and put some rush minions in the deck. It's not the worst. It's not a great turn, whatever. But I'm loath to play the Hogsteed into this and lose the opportunity of getting a good kill command. So I'm just going to do this. We'll see if that's... It never feels great against Rogue, giving them the initiative. But it always feels like you cannot stop them from taking the initiative. So playing this slowly feels very strange. And like I'm just about to get beaten up horrendously. So yeah, here are my choices. I can play a Hanch Clan Hogsteed and get a 6/4 rush thanks to Dire Frenzy, or I could just play a 5/5 rush. 5/5 is slightly better. But I don't get the benefit of... And it leaves behind a 1/1, I suppose, when it dies, which is not nothing when you've got Hedgehunter's Hatchet as well. He's swinging for 9 next turn, so... I mean, if he's got Leroy, I'm dead anyway. Everyone seems to have had Leroy today. I suppose this gives me another draw straight away, which is pretty legit. Whereas the Unleash is just kind of... I mean, a 2-mana 6/4 big rush would be quite good next turn. So I suppose that's a slight edge. It's 5/4. It's okay. So even... Do I even die? Oh, that's what, 9. Even die to double SI? Or even... Yeah, we are just so dead. So I don't know what the thing to do is against Rogue, really. I don't know if it's if it really is to be as aggressive as possible. I don't think there's absolutely anything I can draw here with Master's Court. So I'm just going to give
Well
him
played.
the concession.
Fought.
So whether or not it's actually I played too conservatively there and it would be better to get onto the board earlier, but it just feels like, in my experience, that you enable so many of their tempo plays by doing that. But then if you're not doing that, then they've just got better tempo than you anyway. So, right, seeing as there's another rogue, we are going to try a different approach. We're going to try and get onto the board early and see if we can actually deal with some of the problems. Good evening, Sean. Thanks for stopping by the stream. We're doing okay. We're holding our position, which I was concerned I would perhaps lose. But we've won as many games as we've lost, which is something. It was one of the 3 outcomes I said might well happen at the start of the evening. So I don't massively like playing Springpaw on 1 into Rogue Hero Power, especially when I've got the Scavenging Hyena coin, because it means that on turn 2 I can potentially play Hyena Springpaw, trade the Springpaw into something in the unlikely event to play something. And so on and so forth. Is the Shimmerfly worth playing here? I could Animal Companion. I kind of like coin Animal Companion here. I've got the second companion. Some of them could be beefy enough that a simple backstab doesn't get rid of it. Yeah, 2-4. 2-4 means that he would have to backstab SI, which they often have, but sometimes they don't. Here's the backstab. It's a raiding party. Okay, so see, that's better. That's better. We can kind of handle that. We get to do 2 damage with our Leok, and they've obviously drawn Waggle Pick and a couple of pirates. So kind of tempted with my second Animal Companion. If it's Huffer, I get to push a lot of damage. If it's Leok, that's another high toughness creature, and if it's the 4/4, then fair enough. Okay, so low toughness board at the moment, but we are at least getting to be aggressive, which we weren't last game. So I'm pushing tempo a little bit more against the rogue here. Second backstab is absolutely brutal. I mean, this is why it's so hard to play against rogue as a hunter.
Blood and plunder.
It just gets they drew both courses, which is, they can do that. They're within their right to do that. So what do we do here? I don't have any of my power plussing beasts, so I can't really gain a huge amount from running Springpaw into these Dread Corsairs. I can kill command one of them, but that's like that's a large chunk of my turn. Still taking 7. I coined out that Animal Companion, so I don't have the coin really to get us to our bigger rushing beasts. But that's at the moment that's what we're hoping to do, basically. So I guess I will. I guess I will just hope that this combination, but I kind of need to get rid of one of these 3/3s with this kill command. I don't think I can take 10. This might be wrong, but we're gonna kind of try and mitigate some of the burst here, or the push here. And we can't stop the burst, but we're gonna try and mitigate some of the push.
The Brotherhood shall prevail.
That's unfortunate. I don't know if he's shadow stepping it, then I doubt there's much a kill command really would have helped with necessarily. Another 6 drop, exactly not what we were after, but we can make a massive hyena this turn, which will at least give him a little bit of pause. We can clear the board other than the Van Cleef. How big's the hyena going to be? It's going to be 6. Yeah, it's going to be 8. It's going to be 10. 10 something. So he's kind of probably... And again, if he has sap... I don't know if we ever beat sap. So away we go. I maybe could have run this in first to see if we got anything decent spell-wise. It's probably just right order-wise. I don't think that would have made too much difference. It's a good card though. Could be useful. So we clear his board. We present something that you can't just kill with Waggle Pick. If he doesn't have sap, we are in good news. Okay, deckhand's unfortunate. Especially with Eviscerate. So Eviscerate was basically the same as sap there, which was unfortunate. But we can unleash the beast and just chunk 5 into this. But I mean that's 4. He hits for 12 next turn. If we Master's Call, what are we looking for? Nothing particularly exciting there. The issue is we don't have any like poison, unlike the mech warrior, the mech hunter. We don't have any poison things that can kind of come out there. Another hyena doesn't really help. Again, I think we there's nothing we can do to stabilize against this guy. We just had to hope that hyena survived and we could have traded it in. Absolutely any form of damage and we're toast. I mean, there we go. Pop him out the well played. I think Rogue is just so difficult for mid-range hunter. I haven't seen any clear suggestions of how one goes about making that matchup a lot better. I think people are playing certain things like Vicious Scale Hide. I don't know if that helps the Rogue matchup particularly. I think most people who are playing Hunter at the moment just accept you can't beat Rogue and just hope to queue and do other stuff. It's been a bit disappointing to lose to other Hunters
Let the hunt begin.
with the mech versions. Wolf, Alfalfa. I don't think I want those without the other card which we need, which is Unleash the Hounds. So
Greetings, traveler.
greetings to one of our other fellow hunters who we've played plenty this evening. Okay, looks at least like another beast hunter. Stywolf just not really doing much, and I've got companion to follow up, so he's got a hatchet. That'd be one reason not to do what I just did. And it would be a good reason. How are we feeling about companion here? Versus Master's Call. Master's Call just gives us so many, more options, but you know, it's how we're getting onto the board. The danger is, I suppose, there are options. Well, one of the options is Huffer, and it will get cleared by this, but it will do 8 damage in doing so. So I don't hate Animal Companion here. Very good at rolling Huffer this evening. Arena, I'm assuming you mean in the Magic version rather than the kind of limited form of Hearthstone, which is also called Arena. But I haven't been actually, dude. I think because the rotation of Hearthstone has meant that this game really came alive for me in terms of Constructed. Like I was able to compete in Constructed in a way that I haven't been up until the rotation. That's been enough, and it's really kept my interest. But I've heard only good things about Arena, right? Like I've heard that it is the future of Magic and so on and so forth. So, and I know you're enjoying it. So I imagine if I was to go back to Magic in any serious way, it would involve going to both F&Ms, finding a community there locally, but also Arena. I think I have to kill command this guy, otherwise he's just going to eat my face for far too long. So I'm not liking our position at all. If I draw Spring Paw next turn, I've got a good die frenzy target, otherwise that card feels fairly dead. He's at least taking this turn to Master's Call, which is something. Timberwolf die frenzy. I mean, is that better than Master's Calling this turn? I think probably not, because I've got double Master's Call. It means I can actually gain quite a lot from that. And Master chances I draw a 4/4. I don't know if I like that play, but Master's Call just doesn't do anything yet, and it would have been so much of my turn unless I drew a Spring Paw. And this is the beauty of these card games, right? Like there's so much to think about, so many things that you can just, when you've got friends who are playing the game as well, you can just kind of chew the fat over what you think is the right play, what did or didn't work, what got punished, the value of results-oriented thinking, blah, 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 blah. So what is this? What is this? Good snipe. We can at least drop our Shimmerfly first. Kinda like doing that here. Is it explosive maybe? Well, anyway. It's not snipe. So if we attack as one of his dudes, there's a chance that could go badly with Snake Trap. Snake Trap is a bit of a ball ache at this point, isn't it? Can't just throw out the hyena. So would have been nice to Master's Call into one of those Timberwolves we shuffled in, just because they're so efficient at 1 mana 4/4. That is a big boy. We can kind of contest it by dropping our own hyena and slamming the Hogsteed in. I think if I Master's Call, there is a chance. How many Timberwolves will we have to? Can we even draw? I don't think we can draw enough. Tracking into a kilt now. Come on, maybe. I kind of like the idea of. It leaves me 4 minus 2. We could. Let's see. Direwolf Alpha Spring Paw gets me 2/2. That's 3, 4, 5. I can drop it to a 1. I can get this thing down to a 1. I kind of think that's probably. No, I can't. I don't have the mana for that. Oh, it is Snake Trap. Ah, that's a disaster. Oh no. Oh. See, the thing is, I played through my mind like how bad that would be if it was Snake Trap, and I completely forgot that it would pump the hyena. Well, that's. I mean, I deserve to lose that game. There's no doubt about it. That is a mistake to make. Slamming me for 13, and yeah. What he's wondering at this point is why is this chump not conceding? And we will be conceding. We will be conceding because we are very much dead.
Well fought. I concede.
Is this deck more aggro or control? So it's mid-range. It's definitely mid-range. So yeah, I mean that feels bad at various points to be playing mid-range. There are control decks that you match up very well against, like Warrior, which we haven't seen a single Warrior deck tonight, which seems a bit unfortunate. I don't know if every Warrior decks, since the World Championships, people are playing less Warrior. Could well be the case. But then I think, have I got game against aggro? Hyena and Unleash the Hounds give us a shot. I think. I kind of need. I think it's so important to draw Unleash the Hounds. I'm actually going to mulligan Hyena here. I think you really, really need Unleash the Hounds, and actually like this combo Timberwolf is probably is more important than the Hyena. So we're going to save our coin for that, definitely, to get this on turn 4. We've already beat one Zoolock because of this. Although, no 1-drop. That's curious. He hasn't got coin, so he can't play Magic Carpet and a 1-drop next turn. So I don't really see, because we can go Timberwolf Unleash, I don't see the punish for playing this, but I might be wrong. Okay, so we're not playing against you, which makes me uncertain what on earth we are playing against. Handlock, something like that, but at 3, that's an unusual choice. So we are a bit into unknown territory here, folks. You can play the Timberwolf and trade into the 3/3. Doesn't sound ideal. A companion, we get a few options that let us trade or at least save our direwolf. So I think I'm going to companion here, and then ship the 2. I don't know my warlocks other than Zoo very much, so we're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants here. I'm assuming it's some kind of heavy control deck with a win condition around Plot Twist, maybe Mechathune. If anyone's still doing that, I don't think there is a Mechathune lock now with rotation, so I doubt it's that. But yeah, there are some good aggro decks like Warlock, and I suppose in some ways Tempo Rogue feels quite aggressive to a lot of people. But yeah, control decks, there aren't as many at the moment. Warrior is certainly the control deck, the premium control deck. And the games just take too long for me. I don't have enough time to try and increase my ladder presence with a control deck. This was unfortunate placing, but I think that's my fault, so we're doing this turn. Hyena trade the wolf is not the worst. Let's put a bit of pressure on. Board clears these days. They don't have Defile, they have Twisting now, and they're Godfrey. I mean, how much do I hate? Diaphragming this doesn't seem that exciting. I don't think we're going to get much better opportunity for Hyena, you know? So we're going to smash for 5. Trade here, buffer Hyena. I just don't know the board clears as well as I should. Because you just don't, outside of Warrior, you just don't have to think about that very much. And maybe Priest.
A new Valore Delana.
Okay, that's a good card. I mean, I can kill command and keep pushing damage. I don't hate that. This combo that I mulligan for is just going to be so unimpressive this game, which is a bit of a shame. Dire Frenzy doesn't do anything for me here, so I think it is keep the board clear, keep pressing that hero button, keep hitting him with this big scary bear. I mean, is it quick enough to deal with whatever shenanigans he's going to drop down? I doubt it, but we're not drawing the top end that we need, like Savannah, High Main, Zoljin, Unleash the Beast, and Master's Call to really threaten this kind of control deck. We're actually drawing a lot of our low end, low impact stuff, so which doesn't feel great. I don't even really want to. I could Dire Frenzy Shimmerfly, which is kind of like value, but Hunter spells. I mean, I don't even know what I'd be after here. I suppose it sets up for Georgian a little bit better. It's not that exciting. So let's. Do I want to Dire Frenzy? Do I want to Dire Frenzy? Makes my Master's Call a little bit worse actually because of Tundra Rhino and so on and so forth. So I don't think we do. You know, just drop this, hit the hero power button. I mean, if he wants to use a ball clear and diable file, that's his shout. What are the tier 1 decks, Sean? Definitely Rogue. Tempo Rogue is the best deck in the game at the moment. It's been destroying me all night and destroys a lot of decks. That kind of sets up a rock, paper, scissors style meta game where you've got decks that do very well against Rogue. So Warrior, so a heavy control Warrior, Bomb Warrior are both very good at the moment. I suppose Token Druid is kind of the third, maybe tier 1 deck. It really didn't get a representation of the world, so I was, which a lot of people were surprised by. Myself included. I thought that deck was going to be good. Yeah, no worries, dude. I know, I know Keith prefers watching on YouTube and stuff as well. So this gives us an opportunity to drop our Unleash combo. I think this is probably as good as it's going to get. I don't think I mean, he played Evil Genius, got a couple of lackeys. I can't imagine we're going to get much more value, whereas Unleash the Beast, I think, gives me a better board presence. I could play Unleash and Timberwolf, trade Unleash into here, trade this into here, and leave it with a 1-1 versus my Timberwolf. I kind of actually prefer that. The Timberwolf Unleashed just doesn't really do as much as I'd like. So we're going to trade in here. Take this. It's left with a 1-1. And, maybe he probably can clear he'll be able to clear the weapon, but he has to clear it. Whereas I think the Unleash Timberwolf combo doesn't really do enough. It clears his board but doesn't present him with any questions. Sunry, the War Mages, is doing the do. I mean, at least I can play Unleash and Immune this guy. Is that better than dropping Hogsteed? Yeah, probably. Shown. We've still got coin. I haven't felt there's been a lot of great uses of it. I mean, I could press the hero button with coin. Yeah, I kind of like this. Means I get to trade in without any damage. The question is to coin hero power. 3, 6, and 8. it's just... It's probably something I do as a Hearthstone player. I don't do enough. I hold on to the coin too long. And I could have hero powered there for an extra 2 damage.
Unity, precision, perfection.
But I just think so often there are turns where, you just got a lot to do. Kind of like this turn. This turn feels like I might well have quite a lot to do. So I haven't Dire Frenzied anything yet, so this Master's Call is just pulling out kind of vanilla deck beasts, which, gives me a reasonable chance at something useful here. And then Hogsteed would be able to trade into Ziliax. Does get quite a lot of life back. 3, 4... the other option is to Dire Frenzy the Hogsteed, then Master's Call, which I don't hate. I kind of like it because we are getting into Zul'jin territory as well. So I guess 9 mana. I could also kill commanded. And not giving him the 3 life, but rather than Master's Call. That might have been the right call. I'm loath to use that last kill command. It's one of the few examples of burst we have in the deck. But now we got Jaime. We just got so much to do with our hand that I think
My brood will survive.
drawing this guy, off the top for the rush seems pretty good too. He's so cheap, so I can play him. I mean, he does trade straight in here. It's the only slightly unfortunate thing. But I could also play Hyena, Timberwolf, Hogsteed, pump the Hyena. The problem is if I present such a good board, he's going to have to Twisting Nether, but I suppose maybe instead of Hyena I play Highmane. And then at least, if you're Twisting Nethers, I've got a serious board afterwards. I think that's the right play. So let's drop this guy. This guy makes me sure I can play it. Can trade. This means I get to push 6. I kind of coin. Yeah, fuck it, we're doing it. We're pushing the extra damage. I mean, he's got to clear this board, which we're looking at Godfrey or Twisting Nether, and then he's facing down 4, 5 damage on board, 5 from a kill command, 2 from the he's dead if all he does is clear the board, basically.
I wonder.
This will be a
There's Godfrey. Yeah, okay, so Godfrey does a better job than Twisting Nether. I had perhaps been remiss in remembering quite how brutal that guy is. So, what are we doing here? I think we can... Shimmerfly, Hero Power. I mean, Unleash the Hounds for 1 damage. It's down to 9, down to 8. Down to 3. Is 3 that different from 4 at this point? Not really. Problem with this turn is it kind of just gives him a freebie to do nothing. But I'm pretty sure we don't play these 2 cards into his 4/4 for absolutely no reason. And I don't think I need the mana to kill command now. Maybe I do. Drop him to 4. I don't know. That might be a mistake again. not using that as 3 mana when we have the chance. But I mean, if it makes him feel comfortable doing that, because now he's dead. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Was not expecting that. So I can just play a beast, 2 damage to his face, and kill Commander's face. So he must have just been like so confused by my play, assuming I didn't have kill command, that he felt comfortable life tapping. Although maybe, you know, in fairness to him, maybe he didn't really feel like he had any other option. But yeah, weird deck. Don't tend to see much control lock. Hand lock, I suppose, is really what that is. I don't know if it's the kind of play Mountain Giant. Anyway, so we're almost back to where we were after we tanked a bunch against a Rogue and Hunter. As I said, this is probably the way this evening's stream's going to go. I was perhaps a little overly hopeful that we might get some good matchups and run up to Legend, but yeah, that's just not going to happen. So, especially if we keep playing the mirror match and doing quite so poorly in it. Thank you for asking, Sean. Yes, we are working on our 3rd game, which is we've got prototypes that we're playing through at the moment. If you'd like, I might show you that towards the end of the stream. We've been sharing that with our Patreons, and the development process is going really well. We're really excited by what we're getting. We've just recently got some new art assets from a local artist. The backgrounds are looking, you know, we're still working on how they look in the game, but the actual art looks fantastic. So we're really, really pleased with that. And I'm actually, one thing I might have done for this stream, that hand's much worse. What I might have done for the stream was I'm the one doing all the prototype art assets for the actual kind of non-background stuff. So I could have been doing some pixel art this evening, which is actually requires, I think, more concentration than Hearthstone. So it probably tells you all about how well I'm doing in Hearthstone. But yeah, I realised I told you nothing about the game in that spiel, but it is it's a game where you are building your vehicle as you travel across America, and you are building it one panel at a time, and it's a ladybug building a vehicle who is traveling across America. Is what it looks like on the outside, but on the inside it's all about how we deal with trauma and physical recovery from traumatic events, because you know, everybody knows ladybugs go through a lot of physical trauma in their life. Back to this game, this guy is a real pain in the ass. I can see why people are playing him now. He presents such a hard thing to remove in terms of what he can then mechanize onto. And I didn't have any of my early beasts, so we're just going to throw this out. I don't like this turn at all. Yeah, he's obviously given me the like, why the hell did you take that long on that turn? We have rolled Huffer after Huffer after Huffer. This is a weird turn, but I think I do trade into the 2/5. That feels so strange, but I think it's the right thing to do, because it's so difficult to remove that guy if he gets round to a magnetizing on him. It leaves the Direwolf and the Joey bot, but those can be cleared up, well, one of them at least, by the hatchet at some point. So I kind of like this. It doesn't feel great, but I've got Unleash to kind of clear up the smaller stuff. I just couldn't handle. Well, I mean, if that guy had gone onto the big guy, you know, I mean, it's already game over, I think, but at least with kill command and the weapon, though, that's kind of brutal. I suppose. No. Go down to 14, down to 12 and hit 12. Just, oh man.
I hunt alone.
I don't see how we beat this if I don't do it. But I'm not convinced we beat it even as I am doing it. It doesn't feel great. Yeah, it's got the game 3. I mean, like a lot of Pillbug games, you know, you can just enjoy it on the surface, or you can kind of find out what's going on underneath. And yeah, the next game certainly got a lot going on underneath. That's for sure. So we cannot kill this with my current hands. 5, we can get it down to 1 in so many ways. I mean, we are so far behind anyway, I don't think it was going to make too much of a difference, but we're just going to give them the GGs and scoop them up.
Well fought. I can see.
But yeah, it's as I said, it's still in the prototype stage. I've been doing some writing for it in a new program called Ink, which I've never used before. It's not a new program, it's a new program to me, which is all about kind of branching narratives, kind of like your choose your own adventure style approach. 80 Days, games like that, I've used it to great effect. And I'm having a blast writing in that. I'm going to try keeping Animal Companion, the hyena. Let's just see if we can try and keep our opponent off the board long enough to kind of snowball some advantage there. What? Okay. That's a really interesting throwback. I'm going to have to play seriously around secrets for at least a month. Okay. So, on that note, let's assume it's a secret coming in, so this is going to buff to 2-3. Let's play out Shimmerfly. It might just randomly give me some removal against it anyway, and then we can always potentially. So these days, if it's attacking, I think we get round snipe by going for Animal Companion. Freezing Trap will always just get returns, and that's only when they're hero. Sorry, you can't see these. They're on my overlay. So we're probably not attacking the hero regardless. So it's only Freezing Trap we have to make sure we play around. So let's firstly we've got to see what Animal Companion we roll. Well, Misha kind of stops this secret nonsense. Kind of. I think we just want to attack here just in case it is Freezing Trap. Okay, it's not. So every chance is explosive, maybe misdirection. Okay, we're back into the realms of potentially having everything. It's kind of interesting. Like, yeah, what do you do here, dude? You don't have a great turn here. We have to check for Freezing Trap though, kind of every time. Just a bit of a pain. I think we just go for a companion. New York. I kind of don't want to attack. Is that weird? No, I don't think it is weird against Secret Hunter to kind of not be attacking. I'm assuming we have a. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we don't have a better late game.
I'll never tell.
If he's drawing things, rubbish like that, I think we probably do have a better late game. I would thought about choose. Not until writing Choose Your Own Adventure. Not until doing this process actually. I'd never really given it much thought. They seem wacky and weird, and a very different way of writing. But it's kind of ink makes it like you can actually see how people might go about that, and I think it's it is great for it. I can play Direwolf Alpha here. Like the reason I don't want to play Henchclan Hogsty is because I do want to rush him in to try and like trigger some of these guys, these here, the freezing trap especially. I mean, it's annoying on the Hogsty, but it's not the end of the world. But if I might be able to clear some of this board off if we actually start managing. I'm assuming this is getting sniped. That's fine. Okay, I'm kind of assuming this guy's going to get freezing trap. Okay. Similarly, kind of fine. Except the rope ran out of me. So that was my bad. I was too busy talking about other fun things. So.
To my side.
Oh man. Such punishment. Okay, that could not have gone worse. Oh man. Okay, well, we can double kill. No, we can't even double kill command. Oh dearie me. I can hyena kill command. I don't even know what I'm doing this turn. No, it's not your fault, dude. I think trading in would not have done anything. It's one of those ones where you think secrets are really interesting in Hearthstone because it makes you play in a very different way. I shouldn't have attacked. That's basically like what this all suggests. Is you shouldn't attack. But then, it's weird. It feels so strange thinking that way in a card game where, so much of it is about controlling the board, and yet you don't want to attack. So you're just letting your opponent build up and build up and build up. It feels very odd. So, like here, whether or not I should attack this 2-1, probably not. But if I don't, I'm just going to take a lump worth of damage. And it feels horrible. I'm going to have to play this guy as a bit of a roadblock. I'm assuming this is an explosive trap. And these secret keepers, I laughed at them, and that was the problem. I laughed at the secret keepers. Wow, well played. I did not see. Of all the decks I expected to lose tonight from, it was not Secret Hunter. But I got ranched, and that's just unfamiliarity again. Like there were not expecting that on ladder. Back when Secret Hunter was a really big deck in the metagame, you knew what you were doing against. I'm going to stop bringing Hunter, I think. I mean, the mirror match, I shouldn't be losing as many as I am. It's probably because it's a bit late in the day, but I have not seen this much Hunter on ladder for a long time, so I have a feeling it's time to shift the deck to either tech against the mirror or just bring a better anti-Hunter. I can't believe with this many rogue decks that people are playing this much Hunter. It really was before the World Championship that you would not see very much Hunter, and I was kind of just always hoping to dodge rogue decks. But obviously things have changed quite a lot in the metagame, and I am perhaps at the sharp end of it, being a bit slow on it, maybe. Slow on the old uptake wouldn't be the first time. But I am tempted to start cracking out a rogue deck very soon. It's been a class I've wanted to play since the rotation, but have had that kind of not really wanting to jump on the best deck kind of approach. I'm disconnected, but I'm reconnected. And all he did was play a Joey bot by the looks of it, so we are okay with that. Am I okay with trading? Still got coin. Do I want to double links trade? I've kind of been suggesting that I do.
Quickly. Thanks.
Kind of been suggesting that I do want to do this. You know, keep them off. Keep them off their mechs. I think is probably important. It feels important. Feels a bit silly now.
Ooh, I wonder what this does.
Feels very silly now. But hopefully we're gonna get maybe Unleash. That would be a pretty sweet draw at some point soon. So I like Animal Companion here. How much do I like it? I like it better than Master's Call. Yeah, drop a 4/4 taunt in the way a little bit. Venomizer was always going to get something. Yeah, I think he quite rightly recognises that the 3/3 is just far better there. So we're going to have to Master's Call here to get anything going. Hogsteed next turn's not too bad. It means I can trade off into this guy if he doesn't Venomize. But I think, put some mechanic on his Venomizer. I think he will, and I think we're going to... Again, we've just fallen far behind on each time we've played the other Hunter decks. Well, we've got Rob watching us off stream, so maybe he just got bored of hearing my dodgy commentary. So can we do 3, 4, 5? Get 2 2s into the 4s. That's I can kill that guy. Is there worth playing the Timber? No, that's fine. So that's 2 4. I can drop both of these, but I'll expose my Timberwolf, whereas the Direwolf at least.
Thanks.
It goes 2 4 4. Yeah, so that's the right thing to do. He'll be able to trade it off with all these 1/1s. So that's not ideal, but it uses the mana. Maybe the Hogsteed would have been better there. Yeah. Oh, the Hogsteed feels better, much better now. We could Rhino and Timberwolf. That only clears off. Didn't clear off very much, really. About the same as Hogsteed. Hogsteed Dire Frenzy clears this guy. It's a kind of again back to Hogsteed Dire Frenzy versus Unleash the Beast.
Thanks.
It's a kind of a very similar situation to last time. Last time we went to Hogsteed and it Dire Frenzy and it kind of worked out. I think it's even better here, if I'm honest. Gives me a better draw. Gives my Master's Call more. I've got Unleash if he goes big with something magnetized, as well as Tundra Rhino. He's going very wide, which could be very solid right now, but I kind of feel we are getting low. We're gonna clearing his board. See, there we go. That's why that felt good. like the right thing to do. Got Tundra Rhino here. Unfortunately, I can't end this here. Tundra Rhino might be the right call to set up for next turn. We're at 16. It's low, but it's not too low. I think this is the right call. The weird thing is like whether or not just to press a ton of damage here. Pressing a ton of damage does sound kind of good. But we are so far behind. This feels wrong, but it gives me the board unless he draws a magnetized stuff. Like Ziliax would be an absolute disaster here. That guy's not great. He's going face, yeah. I mean, can we do enough? We can't. So if we draw... Yeah, this is the problem. We just got so far behind, and I mean that's on me. 5, 7. It's like we can do a fuck ton of damage, really. But it's those situations where I should have probably gone face.
Thanks.
I think. Yeah. I think that's probably about the most damage we can output here. So let's give it a go. Style better. 2, 2. No. 2, 4. It's the same. 4, but I get 5. So.
Quickly. Thanks.
So how much we can do? I kind of chickened out there, but let's see how it goes. I don't think we can win here. Yeah.
Well played.
Alright, this guy's being a jerk, which is fine. That's one of the best things about Hearthstone.
Well fought. I can see.
Do I think that this new Hearthstone format's found you lucky to get? Yeah, I do. It's hard not to take it from a personal point of view. For me, it has. It really, really has. Because I wasn't around when I wasn't around to get the collection for all the older sets. So I'd missed out on loads of competitive play because I just, I didn't have the cards, and I didn't want to buy my way into the game that way. But I was playing at a point where I was just getting enough cards of the newer sets that when the rotation happened, it was great for me. Whether or not the Hearthstone community at large have felt the same, rotations tend to do that, right? Like in Magic as well, it just kind of freshens the game a little bit, doesn't it? So I think that's generally the case. I think for me personally as well, Hearthstone has gained a lot because of that. Definitely. I'm holding the Spring for Paw with the hope of Diaphragming it being relevant, but it's also partly because we'll just get eaten by this rogue hero power, so I don't like my chances of it surviving. I don't necessarily think this is the way this matchup should go. We are in danger of just falling so far behind that our kind of good plays become irrelevant anyway. That gives us something to... Okay, interesting. That's a good amount of damage.
The Brotherhood shall prevail.
Oh dear lord. Brilliant. Okay. In all seriousness, that was obviously awful, but
I will be your death.
No, you're not wrong. At least we can Springport, kill command, take a bajillion damage, and then hopefully deal with it the following turn. I mean, I'm not hopeful. Like, what am I going to take? 13 damage here? I did see this. You know, this is why I'm definitely rocking some rogue next time I play on ladder, because your matchup against Hunter. I mean, this is an abomination of a game, but your matchup against Hunter is so good. Can I stabilize? I wonder if it's 7 down to 1. Seems unlikely, but we're gonna give it the lols anyway.
Job done.
Oh, nicely done. Okay. Alright, we're going to have one more game, because I would love to end on a win. We have definitely lost more stars tonight than we have gained, by quite a considerable margin. Hi Moggy, turning up for I think maybe the last game of the evening, but always nice to see an old friend. Yeah, it's been a while. You can catch the rest of my losing games of Hearthstone on the catch-up on YouTube. All these get archived on our site, on our channel and stuff. But okay, well, we have won a game or two against Zoo tonight, so let's hope that continues. Hatchet's good, Companion's fine, but I kind of want Springpaw or Unleash. Unleash was really what I was going. Excellent. Thanks for tuning in on Twitter. I always forget that's a thing that we do. We do put it on Twitter. So I'm playing my 1-drop here because I need the durability on the hatchet. Slightly annoying that this guy's going to stick around, but take that down. We're going to drop, and he's probably going to deal with that. I mean, he certainly should do. We got Companion for a follow-up, which is not too bad, but if he goes absolutely crazy, carpet's annoying. Carpet is very good. See, now if we get our 1 and 3 animal companion roll right, we can trade Huffer in and our weapon, and that looks gravy. If we get either of the others, that's quite it's quite a lot of toughness, but with Magic Carpet he will be able to just trade 2 1/1s in, which is bad news. But I think it's the best thing we have to do, and cross our fingers and we get lucky. That's very lucky. I'll give him the thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it. That was lucky. So happy with the knife juggler. Less happy to see that guy because it protects the knife juggler. We can roll the same 1 and 3 to get lucky again, or I can kill command the 1/3 and then hit the 2/2. That doesn't seem a great use of resources, but I think knife jug is slightly sketchy enough. I don't feel like lucky enough to go 2 for 2 on this, so we're gonna kill command this, eat this. Like we're making reasonable card economy, but as you can see, he's still got 4 cards in hand, and he's got the Warlock life tap hero power. So I'm not confident.
Prove your worth, cur.
The light protects me.
Dire Frenzy, not a great draw there. We were really, really looking for something to buff these Unleash the Hounds tokens. I think we're going to instead, because Unleash just Unleash just kills this guy and takes the divine shield off this, which we can do. Not really with a Leok, but if that Leok sticks around, if he decides not to kill it, our Unleash gets much better. So.
What can I blast for you?
Okay, that's bad. That's really bad. We just had a bad day at the office. Look at that. That went from a board that we could unleash to a board that absolutely just is gonna destroy us. Like so, sometimes with Hearthstone you just kind of, what is it? Sometimes you eat the bear and sometimes the bear eats you. Them's the breaks today. So there's literally, I think, very little we can do here. So it's the 9, 13. Yep. We can't even trade this for 1, so we'll Dire Frenzy, some Shimmerfly action. Hope to draw a Timberwolf or Direwolf Alpha, despite the fact I just stopped our I just shuffled stuff in that's not that, and see if we survive.
The light protects me.
I mean, that's one of the cards we needed to draw. So let's do that. Let's go here. Slamming in here. Okay, that's an extra piece of removal. That's very welcome. So we go 2 here. 2 here. 1, 2. I mean, that turn couldn't have gone better from our point of view, but we are still dead to so many things. It's unreal. Oh man. Yeah, that's not good. Magic Carpet is just so brutal. Is that all she wrote? Yes, it is. It is. Well played. Well played. Okay. Alright. One more. This is the danger of streaming Hearthstone, isn't it? One more game. Actually, God, no. I've lost all my stuff. Okay, we need to go out on a win. Let's go out on a win. One more. I'm sticking with the mid-range. I mean, should I be sticking with the mid-range hunter rather than the bomb mech version? At least the bomb mech version, I have the same stuff that I keep losing to. I mean, I should be playing this deck really, but there's one card I haven't crafted yet for it. That would be good. Yeah, we'll do this, and it could be a complete whitewash for this deck for the evening, but we will continue with our mid-range hunter. It got us this far, and it's certainly decided to then not be great for us. So I think the metagame having shifted without me really paying attention has been a problem. Right, the only way we win against Token Druid is with Unleash the Hounds, so we full mulligan for that and don't get it, which is a bit of a shame. Direwolf Alpha may well help if we manage to draw that Unleash. High main's going to be far too late, I think. Much rather have Unleash the Beast against Token Druid if it gets to that stage, which it may well not. Master's Call's not really going to help us either.
Free your mind from its bond.
Yeah, that doesn't want... Not that I was going to play Direwolf Alpha anyway, but that definitely means I'm not going to. We are kill commanding that guy because I think he is just too much value. Already he's just too much value. And it's not ideal. I guess next time we're Master's Calling. But being behind on the board this way doesn't really feel great, especially when you don't have Unleash the Hounds kind of as a backup plan. We are just going to lose so much tempo. Another 6-drop is not what the doctor ordered. I kind of want to pull 3 cards out of my deck and hope. I'm going to take 7 next turn. I mean, playing this just doesn't get us anywhere. So I'm at least with Springpaw and Hench Clan with the Timberwolf. We've got a way of clearing some board, unless this this might well get completely out of hand really. But we clear 3 cards that aren't Unleash the Hounds from our deck as well, increasing our odds of that. It's probably just the right call there, as much as it means giving up even more board. We know he's got 1 Power of the Wild, which is what he's about to play now, I'm assuming. Yeah. Okay, Unleash. So Unleash and the Timber, and then maybe a Springpaw. Does that get us there? So that Power of the Wild is kind of brutal. I can't wait another turn. I don't think. Hogsteed. Seems like Hogsteed gets rid of 1. No, I think we do just have to do this. So let's think about it. 2, 4, so 2s to 2, 2s to 2, leaves 1 behind. This thing doesn't actually do anything for us, so it's better to leave it and go this way. Clear off the 4s. At least the Timberwolf and Hogsteed combo can help us clear off some of the 3s, or even going for Unleash the Beast. Okay. Well, that makes my clear a little bit easier. 6, so it's 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to float 1 mana, but we're going to kill 3 dudes. 3 of the 4. I mean, I can Hogsteed the old Hogsteed Fire Frenzy. Been losing games doing all that all night. But I think really it's better off if we do this. So we can trade in with the 3/3. Trade in with the... I mean, the 2s or the 3s. I think the 2s, because otherwise he can just overtrade here. He leaves 1 extra power on the board, but at least we can kind of, if he's not going to buff, which he probably will. Yeah, swipe is brutal. At least beyond a second swipe, which would of course be lethal at this point. Like, there's not much, we don't have to worry about too much. apart from like him just hitting things with his hero power is probably enough to get it done at this stage.
Where shall I start?
Alright, charge. Okay, I'm done. That's fine. I would have loved to have gone out with a win, but we have just tanked a ton of stars. I'm back down to 4. So that's, as I said, could happen. I don't think it's really been the streaming. I just think the metagame has probably shifted after the World Championships. Surprised not to see as many rogues as we did, and I lost a lot to those rogues that we did see. But we didn't play a single warrior in 2 hours. That's crazy. The one reason I played mid-range hunter was to beat up on warrior decks, and we didn't see a single one. So obviously I've got to go back to the drawing board. Thanks very much for those of you who stayed with me for the stream. It's been great to play some Hearthstone. I've really enjoyed it. We don't obviously play many games like this on our Pillbug stream, so it's been a fun thing to do without Sean being here. Sean does want me to kind of show him Hearthstone at some point, so whether or not I will do that after this week's showing you how to lose at Hearthstone, he might enjoy that, and we might come back to it. Otherwise, do check us out on all the usual places: Twitter, Patreon, Facebook, wherever you're watching now. Subscriptions, likes, all those kinds of things, as ever, hugely appreciated. But thanks very much for watching, guys. Yeah, much love right back at you, Sean and Moggy and Rob and Keith and anyone who's watching who's one of that crew, and our Pillbug usuals as well. Have a great week, and we will see you next week, hopefully with both of us playing some kind of excitingly beautiful indie game. Take care, everyone. Bye.